This TikToker was obsessed with me to the point where she sent me her cherries. This story does get insane, so like and subscribe or you will never find a girlfriend. Yo, what is going on, you guys? My name is Bubba and welcome back to an embarrassing story. So today's story all takes place 2 years ago. 2 years ago, as you guys may know, we ended up blowing up on TikTok. We have over 2 million followers on there, and I gotta say, TikTok was one of the most insane things ever. Because once you're labeled as a TikToker, people start treating you differently. And I gotta say, I try to keep work as professional as possible, even though all I ever talk about is the devil's tango. But one thing I will say is that TikTokers, they don't care. Generally, I am now gonna tell you guys the truth. TikTokers don't care if you're being professional or not. As long as you're posting a 1-minute video, you're cool enough. So I remember me being labeled as a TikToker. One thing I'd always do is just scroll through DMs and stuff and see what other creators I can reach out to and communicate with. Because when you become a creator, networking is like a major key to growing your account and business and just learning more about what it means to be a creator. But I remember one time when I posted on TikTok, I ended up getting a DM from this girl. Now this girl, she had a very, very popular TikTok account and she was known for thirst trapping. So obviously she liked my content because all I ever talked about was doing the devil's tango. And her being a thirst trapper, well, I'm not gonna lie, she thought we had a lot in common when in reality we actually didn't. And I remember when she reached out to me, I tried to keep it as professional as possible. But then I remember when she DM'd me saying, oh, I was just wondering, are all the stories real and stuff? I ended up telling her yes, and how it is real and everything. And she was very impressed to the point where she told me, oh, okay, well, you should add me on Snap. Okay, yeah, I can add you on Snap. Now at this time, my Snapchat wasn't public. I didn't really add other creators and stuff because that was my personal thing for me and my IRLs. But out of nowhere, I remember this girl decides to add me and I added her back, and me and her, we started talking. We started talking over Snapchat and she asked me the same question again where she goes, yo, Bubba, I have a question. So I know I asked this before, but be real with me. Are the stories real? Yes, the stories are real. I don't know why I have to tell you so many times. They're all real stories. Wait, so you actually have done the devil's tango that many times? Yeah, I had a pretty eventful childhood, I guess. And when I told her this, I'm not gonna lie, things went from professional to freaky. Because I remember right after I say that, she ends up sending me a message where she goes, well, that must mean you have a massive eggplant. I remember when I saw this, I remember thinking this is so unprofessional. And there is no way I should be communicating with this chick. Because this chick had a way bigger following than me and she was way more famous than me. So me interacting with this girl was probably not going to be a good idea. So what I decided to do was basically kind of not talk to her as much and kind of ignore her. And I remember one time when I was streaming and actually live on Twitch, out of nowhere, I ended up seeing that I got a Snapchat message from her. It was a message of her watching my stream and she sent me a photo of her watching me live on Twitch. And I'm like, okay, that's cool. She's watching me. And then afterwards, she ends up sending me another photo right after when she saw that I was checking my phone on stream and sent me a photo of her cherries. This TikToker with over millions of followers sent me a photo of her cherries when I was live streaming. This honestly blew my mind. And I remember instantly when I saw that, I slammed my phone on my desk and everyone on Twitch saw what I was doing. And I remember I was just kind of freaking out, trying to play it off, pretend nothing was happening. But obviously I won't lie to you, I was bricked. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I never do on this channel, but I ended up getting bricked. And this honestly led to me, well, not thinking straight. Because I remember I ended up ending stream a bit early that day. And I remember I ended up laying on my bed, basically wanting to take a nap because I usually get super tired after streams. And I remember I ended up getting a Snapchat message from this girl once again. She ended up saying how I did a good job on stream and stuff, acting all professional. But then she sends me another photo of her cherries. And I'm like, okay, you know what? Why not? I remember me and her, we ended up basically doing the things over the phone. I'm not going to say what, but basically the devil's tango over the phone through Snapchat, which by the way, you should not do. It is a very unsafe platform to do that, and be safe with what you guys do. Seriously, it means a lot when you guys do this. Me and her, we ended up doing that, and one thing led to another. This girl became absolutely obsessed with me to the point where I actually started freaking out. Because I remember after that whole thing, I decided that maybe it would be best if I don't communicate with this girl as much, because obviously I want to be professional. I want to be, known to be not a weirdo on the internet. So obviously I ended up basically telling her yo, we should not do this again. We should be professional. And she ended up saying, Bubba, we're TikTokers. We don't need to be professional. I ended up not saying anything after that and basically started ignoring her. And the more I ignored her, the more she would find ways to try to interact with me. For example, when I would stream on Twitch, she would basically spam my DMs and spam my Discord account and basically try to get in touch with me. And for example, if I wasn't talking to her on there, she would basically try to go through my TikTok comments and basically try to get people to add me to message her. It got to the point where it was so bad and people started noticing that me and this girl had some sort of interaction, but no one in my audience understood what, nor in her audience. months. I remember it got to the point where I just full on blocked her on everything. I blocked her on every platform I could think of to make sure that I don't have to interact with this girl anymore. But obviously, once you're obsessed, you're obsessed. And this girl was obsessed to the point where I remember I ended up getting a phone call one time randomly. And remember, I never gave this girl my number, but I remember I ended up getting a phone call, and when I answered it, I heard it was her. And I started freaking out. I'm like, wait, how'd you get my number? Oh, like your manager gave it to me. Wait, why did my manager give you my number? Oh, because like he wants us to like collab. It'll be so fun. Like, you gotta stop ignoring me, Baba. Seriously. If you start ignoring me and stuff, I'm going to expose you. At this point, when she said exposed, I'm not gonna lie. When a person with a big following says anything like that, it's the scariest thing you could get as a creator. So I remember I ended up telling her, yo, like chill out. Like we can talk about this. And me and her from then, we ended up started talking more and more just so I felt safe. I literally only talked to this girl just to feel safe. And I remember it got to the point where I ended up actually telling one of my friends about this. Now this guy I ended up telling, he's one of my IRLs and he is no way in any way connected to the internet. And he told me it would be smart if I ended up telling her manager about what's going on. So that's what I did. I ended up telling her manager basically the whole story. I got in contact with him and I told him everything. And her manager didn't believe me at first until I sent screenshots and stuff. And then this is where the story gets insane, because I remember once I showed her manager everything and basically tattletaled on this TikToker, right away, this obsessed TikToker ends up calling me and being upset, yelling at me, screaming at me. And she ends up going on Twitter and basically making a long twit longer about complaining how I was trying to rizz her up and being unprofessional when clearly she was the one being unprofessional. Obviously, when I saw this on Twitter, and this is advice to anyone that gets drama on Twitter, just don't interact with it. There is no need to interact with it. Just don't even bother with it. And that's what I did. I ignored it, and one thing led to another. It all ended up going away in a span of 2 months until this TikToker came back with something insane. But obviously, that's a story for a different time. Like and subscribe. And like I always say, fall for more embarrassing stories. Peace out, guys.